estate professional and entrepreneur in US and in Asia. Every Tuesday is an advanced business workshop that I, taking the time, from my tight schedule and busy schedule to share with you, good idea and business practice that will help you, to improve your professional skill and also improve your income, right? Because the truth is, if you improve your business skill, if you improve your presentation skill, if you improve your, lead generation skill, if you have a discipline, to create the schedule and follow your schedule, your business will get better, right? So it is June 20. Time go by so fast. It's already half year gone, right? It's a lot of challenge this year. But and I know people in today's market, they're looking for a professional, right, that can help them with the challenge that they are facing, you know. So, we went through the first day that I shared with you the time management, creating the schedule and follow the schedule, right? Also, at the second day, we discussed about, past client and sphere of influence, working with people that that like, that know you, that trust you. And then we go through the process and discussing about the lead generation, customer acquisition, right? Technique and strategy. We then go into the next one, which is like qualify your client instead of, looking at the quality versus quantity, right? So, today I want to share with you the most important things, from the program. We see the presentation, professional presentation. I started the real estate, back in 1998. It's been like 22 years, right? And over 3,000 transactions that helping the client over in the local marketplace, Seattle, Washington, in the U.S. Now, the one thing that I also learned, and I taught this strategy, this workshop, through over 146 entrepreneurs out there, right, that have really fantastic results. If you want to come into the advanced business workshop and when the market open, I'm inviting you to come, right, and talk to our student that sit in the front row about, what, and those are the self-made millionaire that using the real estate and the same strategy, the same concept that create a fantastic result for themselves. So they making it with the discipline, with the good follow-up, with working their database, with working with quality versus quantity, and then they have a great presentation. It's just like any professional, you got to have a presentation. I remember, right? So when as an agent, when I started the business, as long as I learned about a professional presentation, because a lot of you guys know me, I came to the America, I did not speak English, right? And I did not know a lot of people in the local area. So the only thing that I relied on were my, strategy and the skill, right? That I present, I present that to the client. So the listing presentation is very important topic, right? So I wrote down that, the client, they give you the listing, right? And they give it to a person that earned it, okay? And not the person that need it. And you will earn that through a good skill, right? So when I started the business, I didn't know it, so I did not speak English, and so I learned the skill of the presentation, and then I taught that to over 146 entrepreneurs, Out of that 11 people that become a self-made millionaire in real estate, they all have a professional presentation and they practice in it, right? It's just like the English skill, just like, today I'm speaking to you as a trainer, as a speaker, right? But did you know that I did not know how to speak English when I came to America in 1993, right? So it takes time to improve your skill, right? So you can learn it. Now, when I working with client that have commercial leasing, you know, retail and high-end residential, if I want to earn their business, I have to make a really good presentation to them, right? So I do not think that people would come to me and say, Michael, I want to do business with you. No, they want to do business with, they want to do business because they impress the way that I work with the client, right? So you know, when I started investing skill, investing career, I didn't have any money, you know, I didn't know a soul. But in investor, the people that know me, look, there are 2 million there are 2 million Vietnamese in the U.S. There are over like 230,000 Vietnamese that come in here after 1975 to the U.S. and starting a new life. The people surrounding me were very, very poor, right? So everybody coming here from nothing. So my sphere of influence is like, okay, so I need to go and grow the business, and by growing the business, I have to go and raising capital to develop, to build a business, right? So again, it's taken from a presentation that taken the business of listing the asset for the client, whether it's residential or commercial. I'll take that to a capital raising. So it either improving your skill, will improve the result, right? So I wrote down you have to be able to see your presentation, right? And you have to record, you have to tape the presentation on the regular basis to improve your skill, right? So you got to see how you do it, right? So if you were to look at like the repetition boredom, right? If you look at a professional presenter like the band that own the band that sing Hotel California song. They sang that song in the 60s, in the 70s, and today, they still sing the same song. So how are they gonna perform better, right? All over again, that improve the result, right? So really look and say, professional people, they practice, right? They rehearse, they internalize. So the question for you as a professional, you have to do the same thing to improve your presentation, and you got to see how you do, right? So, I wrote down the third point here is that it's very common, to add your own client, even the people that do not do business with you, right? After you present your professional service to them, and ask them, why didn't they not do business with you? To build your confidence. You want those feedback, right? You want those feedback. I can tell you one thing when I started the business, right? Over the years, I have over 1,000 clients, right? But, at the beginning, when I started the real estate professional career, my presentation were not that good, you know. But as I do it more, I continue to do it. I continue to do it. My skill get better, so are my production, and so are more income, and so are my income. And so I'm able to serve more clients, right? It's an opportunity for you to connect with the client, and to do that, it's a business. People that pay you, for your services. Make sure that you really, you have a chance to really demonstrate your skill to them, right? So even the people that do not do business with you, ask them for the feedback. Like that's already, I can tell you one thing, when I started the investing career, nobody want to invest, money with me, right? But when over the year building over $500 million of investment, right? I have to go out there. I have to go to China. I got to go to Vietnam. I got to go to Canada, and I got to go across the country. I go to Wall Street. You know, I came to make a professional presentation, right? So it is right when my skill of the presentation of capital raising improve, and so are the funding, that follow, right? Very important. So there are 5 steps, in the in listing the asset and the product, for the client. In my case, at the beginning of my career, which is when I started 22 years ago, my presentation will apply for, residential, property owner, apartment property owner, right? So I and then later on, it's capital raising, go directly into investor, right? And apply for a job of being their representative, right? So I took it seriously, and and really present to the client, that very important for them to perceive who I am. So professional presentation, and there are 5 steps, and let me kind of share with you, right? The first one is you have to pre-qualify, the people that you go out and talk to, right? So you cannot make you can make a great presentation, and for a non-qualified, non-motivated client, then it really counterproductive. You gotta find out if your client is qualified, motivated, willing, and cooperating with you, right? You need to find out ahead of time, right? So why are you doing that? Because you determine if they are serious or not, right? So, and then so if the client don't have the need for your service, and they're pricing for their product, for example, in Seattle, Washington, in the neighborhood where we at right now, leasing retail is going for like $24 to $36 per square feet, right? For the class B plus, right? No, it just depends. But if you have a client that not really serious, they want to lease their B plus, for their retail, and they leasing them at $45. So let me ask you this question: what is your chance of you taking that listing, put it on the market, and get the job done for your client? The answer is no, right? So you say if you go like myself, I took over over thousands of the client service in the past. And if I have the client, they're not qualified, they're not motivated, if their home, for example, if their home in Moshe Island, it's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,000 square feet, average home price is about $1.3 million, for example. That's the market, that's the comparative market analysis, right? Out of professional. But they wanted to sell it at $2 million. Okay, as a professional, if you're taking on that assignment, right? So what is your chance of be able to help your client in that situation? The answer is no, right? Because in business, either you do it right? And if you don't, you take on a new assignment, you take on the business, you take on the client. If you don't, you want to get the job done, right? You want to get the satisfaction result. And if you don't, instead of getting paid for your service and for your work, you pay, because you're going to spend a lot of time in the process, be frustrated with it, right? So very important for you to do that. So you want to pre-qualify your client, that give you the concern, and the objection ahead of time before you go to the client, right? So I talk to my client, a lot of the clients that I help to get their asset on the market and get sold in the past, everybody, their pricing is tight, right? Because the question here is, even when I send a comparative market analysis at a packet and I email it to them and I ask them to review it, right? They always telling me, and I call them up and say, did you receive the professional package that I sent to you? And they all say, yes, I did, And they always telling me, they say, what is the concern that you have? that I can answer for you before we meet. They always say it's the price. I never met a buyer, a seller that want to sell their asset for less than, the client, they always wanted to sell their product for more. But you're a professional, you really have to, talk to them and work with them, right? And, again, pricing is concerned, the professional fee is a concern, right? And the marketing strategy is also a concern. You need to know ahead of time talking to your client before you meeting. So you want to find out about the objection ahead of time before you meet, right? And why you doing that? Why you doing that to your client, right? It's about like it demonstrates your professionalism, right? Because professional people, they qualify their client. Mediocre, they don't, right? And then it's because like, it, and you doing the pre-qualify your client, talk to them before you meet them, right? It gives you a chance, it gives you a chance, to build rapport, build trust and rapport, right? So, there's a book that called Instant Rapport, right? Michael Brook. And so if you're going to be able to read that book, and I know, because for me, like, okay, how do you build rapport with your client before you meet them, right? Because remember, there are only two types of people out there, right? People that the people that you don't know. Which group you think is larger, right? Of course, people that you don't know, right? And when you work our system, on the day number 3, we teach you how to work with the gold mine, the people that you know. But at the same time, to develop your skill to work with the people that you don't know. But regardless, you have to really reestablish and build in the rapport, right, with your client. To do all this, it's gonna give you that chance, right? So I don't doubt that you have to mail and deliver a listing, a package, And so what would be the professional package that would be included, right? So that would be like, again, first is the plan of action, right? What are you gonna do with the real estate professional that I'm gonna do business with you, right? What are you gonna do? How do you separate yourself? How do you separate, the best from the rest, right? Because they only do business with the best, not the rest, right? So you got to be able to give them an action of what you're gonna do, what is your writing, what is your written commitment that you're gonna do for the client. Because the truth is, the average home in the King County, as is over like $650,000, right? So the average, a fee for residential that the customer they're gonna pay is about like, $18,000, right? $18,000 to $19,000, each case. So if the client, and that would be a residential, but how about commercial, right? If you talk about like listing asset for example, listing asset for office building, right? Office building, and listing for industrial, and then listing for retail commercial, right? So that's a tremendous fee that the client pays. So make sure that you're gonna have to share with them what you're gonna do, right? So I wrote down here that copy of the track record, So copy of the track record, Or if you don't have a track record on your own, using your company track record, right? So what will be included in the package is a completed, comparative market, analysis report. It suggested the price, right? And then, if they're gonna sell the property, right, minus all the fee, what will be the net proceed the client gonna get, right? And a complete purchase and sale agreement, complete the disclosure on the property, so the client know ahead of time, right? So you call back to confirm, the appointment, and make sure the client receive the professional package and have the chance to review it, right, before you get to the house. before you get to the property, before you get to the meeting, right? So, I wrote down here that make sure all the decision maker, that make the decision for the asset will be there. And then, you showed up physically, emotionally, and mentally, right? This is your jam, to provide your professional service to the client, right? And get them to work with you, right? So it's very important that you're doing that because, like if you want to demonstrate that skill, that ability, right? That gonna get the job done for your client. Very important that you do that. So I wrote down here is that, you have to have the habit. You have to have the pre-appointment routine, right? It's just like a routine that you do. Um, I know a friend of mine. I went to see his that fan, and he used to be comic of the year, right? And NBC comic of the year. So before he go and make a presentation, before he go out on the stage in front of the crowd, and make a presentation and get everybody laugh. That's what he do. He's a comic of the year, right? Like he's the #1 comedian in the U.S. At the time. So I watching that film, getting ready for the show time. It's pretty amazing. He got the routine that he going through. He get his mindset in order. He practice the joke, right? And then, he makes sure, he just go through the checklist and really practice. By the time he making the presentation, by the time it's show time, he showed up and do his presentation, and everybody laugh, right? So that's what professionals are doing, right? I work with many professional NBA, right? So through the NBA Legend program, a lot of, I went through a Portland Trail Blazer and played the Dallas, during the championship game in Portland. And I see professional, they showed up, they practice. Game at 7 o'clock, they practice, from 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So professional, they practice and be prepared, right? So I want you to do the same with the presentation that you do for your client. You really have to get the routine, right? Get your mindset in order, practice your presentation, look at it, and you look and dress professionally, right? Right? So, making sure that you have all the material prepared, right? And be early. Never go to a professional presentation and show up late, right? Because when you showed up late, you got to apologize. You got to be, sorry. And you know what? You don't want the client to feel sorry for you, right? Right. So remember, that the first impression is critical. That including everything from the clothes that you wear, how well you groom, whether your shoe is shiny, right? And think about your handshake, think about upgrade, yourself, right? I remember, when I came to America, I was so poor, and then I got to go there and, talking to a client, right? So I bought myself a Superman suit, right? So, every time that I have a presentation with the client, and trust me, I put my best outfit to go and do a presentation. You do not have a second chance, first impression, right? You don't have a second chance to impress your client, right? So you get your one chance to improve your impression with your client and make sure you are, being the best, right? So first impression is so critical, right? First impression is really critical, right? So knowledge is equal confidence, and ignorance is equal fear. Your client, right, that do not want to hire unknowledgeable and unconfident person, right? You remember that? Nobody want to pay, for a person that unknowledgeable and unconfident and not believe in what they do, right? So you really, you at the beginning of the program, I share with you that they only give the business, right, to a person that earned it, not the person that need it, right? You remember that. And the first impression is very critical. So that's what I wanted to share with you. There's information, there are more idea, there are more strategy that I want to share with you. But in the limited of time today, I would like to invite you to come into our Tuesday workshop that we open up, right? Um, that learn more. Again, the more you learn, the more you earn, right? So with that, and I hope that you can, apply and use some of this idea and strategy that I'm sharing with you and apply that into your business and helping more clients, right? And make the business, more enjoyable. So with that, have a great day and I'll see you next time.